Alright, so I'm back again. I know that a lot of people, want to be able to play Tron. I met somebody yesterday that, was trying out Tron for the first time, but they weren't having the most amount of luck. So I'm just gonna show y'all this long overdue video of, how I decided to play this deck. Alright, so first off, the most important thing that I want to do is make sure that I have two lands. The reason why I'm trying to have two lands is this deck has 19 lands in it. I know most Tron decks run, around the same amount of lands. So it's very crucial that you get at least one piece of Tron land and something else in your hand, because if you start off with just one mana, you are probably not going to get the Tron quick enough to, be competitive against your opponent. Alright, so I'm just gonna do, a little playthrough here. Yes, I understand, with this I don't have an opponent. So I'm gonna give myself 4 turns. If I can't, get Tron assembled in 4 turns, we are probably gonna just call it a loss and just, you know, go ahead and, start it over and do another one. Alright, so typically me here, I would go ahead and play the mine. Then I would play a sphere. Tap the mine. I'll go to my next turn. Draw Nahiri. Obviously, we know we're not going to play that anytime soon. I normally try to reorganize my hand of, every card I draw, just because I want to be able to look at the progression in my hand, with just the cards I have. Like for me, right now, I know this is how I'm looking to set it up right now. Alright, so then I will tap my mine, sacrifice my sphere, draw a card. I drew a Street Wraith, so I have 1 green mana floating. I'd go ahead and use this right now. And then I would draw a card again, and I'll get a Blast Zone. So this is the instant I mentioned earlier where I don't want interplanar beacons. If I had an interplanar beacon right now, and I just drew a Blast Zone, if I play the interplanar beacon, yes, it's gonna get me life, and it's gonna set my mana up for my planeswalkers, but I wouldn't be able to play things like, oh, so because I just want that availability of green mana. That's why I decided to, switch out some beacons for forest. But right now I know I would go ahead and play my forest, tap it. And what I would do here is I would use my Manamorphose. Use for 2 green, draw a card. And I'd be able to play an Oath of Nissa. Then I'll be able to look at the top 3. Hmm. Alright, so what would I decide to get here? It's either, I know it's not the forest. Move that one to the library bottom. It's either between Summit or Interplanar Beacon. But since I have Oath and this out there, I'm just gonna go ahead and say I'm just gonna choose a Planeswalker. Then I would put this in my hand. And then I would go ahead and play the other Oath and Nissa. Then I would have to sacrifice one of them, look at top 3 again, and I get nothing. Alright, this is what I want to be first. And then we'd go to the next turn. Metamorphose again, I tap 2. That in my grave, draw a card, another Planeswalker. Alright, so I'd play a Blast Zone and maybe take it up. It just depends on, what's going on in the field at this point in time, but this is turn 3. I'd go ahead and put my expedition map out and not use it yet. Actually, you know what? I'd go ahead and pop it. The reason why I'd go ahead and pop it is I already have 3 mana on the field, and my planeswalkers all cost 4 mana. And I have a mana in my hand. So that being said, you know what? I might as well just go, start getting myself set up. So I'm gonna just go grab a random piece of Tron land. Here's a tower. I'll go grab a tower. Move it to my hand. That's time now as well. Give it a couple shuffles. And then I'll go to my next turn. Then I would play a tower. Alright, so that's 4 mana in play. And I have Oath of Nissa so I can use any color mana to cast my planeswalkers. Then I might do something like Tameo just to hold my opponent's permanents down. And go to my next turn. Put the last mine down. Play a doubling season. Use Tameo once more to hold my opponent's stuff down. Then that goes to the grave. And next turn, now we get a power plant. I would be able to, play both my planeswalkers and combo off. So this was turn 6, so obviously right here, where we played the forest and the blast zone, that definitely set us back. Also the fact that we didn't hit another piece of Tron land after using both Oath of Nissas, that was unfortunate. But let's go ahead and, hit that restart. See if we have better luck this time. Alright, so not good. Especially, no Tron lands in the first place. No land at all, as a matter of fact. So let's hit that mulligan. Yes, I want to take a mulligan. And this thing is set up for the old types mulligan because it only draws a 6th card. So I'm going to draw that 7th card. And let's see what's in my hand first. Put that over there. I'm not playing that anytime soon. Oh wow. Looks like this time around we have Tron. Alright, so this is the one I'll be putting at the bottom of my library. Alright, so first turn I will just play a land. Next turn, play a land. Next turn, use this guy. Draw a card. Play a land. Next turn, play a land again. Nope. No, I would not. I would not play that land. I'll play this land. And then I would play doubling season. And then next turn, which would be turn 5, I would be able to combo off with Jace. So I'd probably use Jace, go get Tameo, or Dragon God and just end the game. So this is turn 4 going into turn 5. Alright, let's get another game going. Alright, so once again, one land. I am not a fan of one lander hands, so let's go ahead and hit that mulligan. And then draw one more card. Now here is probably what I would put on bottom here. Let's see though. I have one land again, but you know what? I'd rather risk one hand with this than with the other one. But go ahead and take that, put it into the grave, draw a card, play a mine, Play a star, tap that. Next turn, put that in the grave again. Draw a card. Play that. Sacrifice that for a green. Draw a card. And then play Expedition Map. Play a Terrarian. And go to my next turn. Yeah, I'll probably tap these two. Sacrifice this. What am I looking for now? I'm looking for a power plant. Go get a power plant. Over to my hand. Get a couple good shuffles in. Play the power plant. Tap it. Sacrifice this for 2 green. Draw a card. With the 2 green, I'm gonna play a star. Sacrifice the star so I have 1 green left. Draw a card. With the 1 green, I'll play Oath of Nissa. Look at top 3. I'll go ahead and take Nahiri and put it into my hand. Doubling season on bottom first. Power plant on bottom second. And go to my next turn. Now I have a doubling season in hand. Now I'll be able to play a tower again. Then I would play a chromatic star. And I'd sacrifice it for a green. Draw a card. So I have 1 green mana floating. Then I'd play doubling season. So that's 3 plus the 1 green, that's 4. From 1 more from that, that's 5. Then I would play Nahiri. Now, in the scenario here, the huge problem that we have with the deck, we have Emrakul in hand, unfortunately. So this was turn 4, we got Nahiri to, ultimate, but since Emrakul is in hand, we cannot ultimate. In which case, we'd have to go ahead and +2 Nahiri and discard Emrakul. You know what, let's just go ahead and do that. Move to my graveyard. When Emrakul is put into a graveyard from anywhere, owner shuffles his or her graveyard into his or her library. Alright, so move these cards to my library and give it a couple good shuffles. Next turn, I'm gonna say Nahiri's still out because she came in with 8 counters and she's at 10 counters now. So she might not be able to ultimate again, but at least I can use her to draw 1 card at this point in time. If the game's not over. So let's see how I would work this. Alright, first thing. It's obvious here we don't have green mana, so use Nahiri, do her her +2 if she can't ultimate. Go ahead and put this into the graveyard and draw a card. And there we go, we got green mana. I'll go ahead and play this. Sacrifice it for green so we have 1 green mana floating. Draw a card. The 1 green mana. Tap the mine to get a colorless mana. Or 2 colorless. Sacrifice the Manamorphose. So now we have 2 green and 1 colorless floating. Draw a card. And did not get another Planeswalker. So, yeah, we got Nahiri on turn 4, but no Planeswalker to go off with. Or what I meant to say is we got Nahiri on turn 4, but we had Emrakul in hand. And because of that, we could not go off correctly. But had this been another Planeswalker, whichever other one, we'd be able to win the game. Except for Dragon God, because he costs 5 mana, not 4. Let's go to the next one. Speaking of Dragon God, he has shown up. Let's see if we can make this work. If we can make it work this time, I'm gonna say, you know what, that's good, and just come back and do this another time. Play a tower, play a mine, obviously because, you know, I have 2 pieces of Tron in hand. Next turn, oh, Ugin. Play the mine, go search for a power plant on my opponent's end step probably. Search for the power plant, got the power plant. Give the deck a couple good shuffles. Yep, I just went and got that, so these would be tapped. Okay, now go to next turn. I'd be able to play the power plant after I play the power plant. I would play this. I would use the other 1 mana to sacrifice this for a green. And then I would draw a card with the 1 green that I have floating. I would then turn around and play Doubling Season. So this is 5 mana right here. So it's gonna have 1 colorless mana left over. And I would use that 1 colorless to play Terrarian. And then I would go to my next turn. And with this next turn, what I would do is I would go ahead and play Urges of Mine. And I think the play here would be tap those 7, 8, 9. And I would just go play Spirit Dragon, which comes in with double the amount of counters. So let's see, gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, put 7 up to 7 permanents in a play. So you know what? I'm just gonna draw the 7 cards, just, you know, for the heck of it. Mainly because it's fun to do it, so yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, up to 7 permanents. Let's see what I'm putting into play. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, in this case, all the permanents that we had in hand would go into play. Which means that we're gonna have Nahiri going off, Summit going off, and Dragon God going off. The main thing with putting all these permanents into play at the same time, because there is another doubling season hitting the battlefield, it actually doubles your counters on your planeswalkers twice. So, like this Nahiri here, she would go from 4 to 8 to 16 counters. So she would have 16 counters on her, and it's the same for the other 2 planeswalkers in my hand. Which means that you would be able to use them and then use them again next turn if your opponent happens to find a way to survive until next turn, but mainly when Dragon God hits the battlefield, it's game over. And since Sumut is here, it's not too far of a stretch to say we might even be able to, you know, end up getting Emrakul. Because I can see, you know, being able to use Sumut and then going to get, what is it, Tamio? And then after you get Tamio, use her to make it to where you can cast spells without paying their mana cost. Then you could go ahead and fetch a land and then draw 2 cards. But either ways, there's just plenty of ways to, end the game here. And this happened on turn 4. So, like I mentioned before, turn 4 seems to be the magic turn this deck can, go off and get everything done. If you do end up going to turn 5, and you have at least, well, it doesn't really depend on the mana. I mean, it doesn't depend on what color mana you have at that point in time. If you get the right, lineup of cards after turn 5, I mean, after turn 4, so on turn 5 or any turn after that, you can go ahead and play the combo in one turn. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do another one. Partly because I'm kind of enjoying this a little bit. And this is not the hand to keep. So with Mulligan. And this is not the hand to keep. So we would Mulligan again. Actually, you know what? This is not too bad of a hand. But let's see. First, wait. Let's see. We have 6 cards in hand. Like I said, the no Mulligan rule. You can see all 7 cards, then put one of them on the bottom of your library. So let's go ahead and see the last card. Alright, good thing we did not Mulligan. Alright, so here, let's see. What we do not need is we have a Sylvan Scrying, an Expedition Map, 2 Oath of Nisses. I think Street Race is what we don't need. So we move that to the bottom. First turn, I'd say go ahead and play a mine. The reason why I'm saying play the mine first though is, just the odd chance that you do draw another piece of Tron land right afterwards, you'll be able to, just go straight into Tron, even though you wouldn't have anything to do with it at this point in time. But we'll see what the lineup of the rest of the cards look like. Next turn, got another mine. Another expedition map again. Go ahead and play that. Then I would say, depending on what your opponent is playing, either use the expedition map or Sylvan Scrying. In this case, I'm just gonna do Sylvan Scrying just because. And let's see, I would go look for. I'm gonna just take a power plant. Then I will go to my next turn. I will play the power plant. Tap that. I would play Oath of Nissa. Look at top 3. I know I would want doubling season to be first. Then I know I can go ahead and go fetch me a tower at the end of my opponent's turn, of course. And then I would go to my next turn and play my tower. And now we have Tron online. We have Ugin in hand. Yeah, I forgot to sacrifice that, but we paid the mana for it last turn, so we know, we'd be able to go get Tron. So yeah, now we have Tron online and we have an Ugin in hand, and it's turn 4, which puts us in an excellent position. We'll just see what happens in the next 2 turns. I'll be able to play Ugin. Most likely I'm gonna board wipe everything, so that means my card's gone as well. Next turn, tap the forest. Go ahead and play an Oath of Nissa. Look at the top 3 cards again. I'll go ahead and put Jace in hand. Let's say I want this to go to the library bottom first. And we can still keep going here. I know for sure I'll put this out there. But I think the main thing is at this point in time, no, you have options because Ugin is still on the battlefield. If you don't have any other win condition and you're sure they're gonna get rid of Ugin, I would just go ahead and start using Jace for his -2 ability, which lets me, reveal the top 5 cards of my library and my opponent makes 2 piles and I choose which pile to keep and then I'll put the other one on the bottom of my graveyard. Not the bottom of my graveyard. I meant to say the bottom of my deck and go from there. But yeah, now I'm sure y'all realize deck has a fair amount of interaction that happens with it. It's complicated if you don't know what you're doing. So the main part in the beginning is just being able to understand, how Tron works. But yeah, I just wanted to give y'all that little playthrough to, show you all how I use the deck.